I am with my private investigator friend, Kathy. And I won't give her full name because I don't want to disclose her identity. And we are about to embark on an adventure together. So I asked her if she would let me interview her so I could learn more about private investigators and what their world's really like, and that way for all you writers out there, you can kind of study and do your own character development. And she came up with the idea of actually trailing someone or stalking someone. So we are at Sonic, and I'm going to choose someone that we are going to follow and see how far and how long we can follow them and if they ever catch on. So if you don't hear from us, we're in prison because we have been turned in. But so let's enjoy the ride. I'm thinking we need to choose a person that is getting ready to leave this bank. All right. So that little, there's a sports car. He could be depositing money he just stole from a senior citizen in his retirement home. Mm-hmm. Okay?
No question.
No question. Does he look guilty?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna follow them. Okay, so tell me how you kind of, while we're waiting for him to flee, tell me how you got into this occupation.
My husband actually was a private investigator first. Mm-hmm. And all the jobs I had basically
he's gonna exit right here.
Required some investigation.
Okay.
And so it was just a natural transition for me. 2004, my husband had already been self-employed and had lighthouse investigations beforehand. And then we moved out of state for 5 years, and he went to work for a couple of really big private investigating companies, and they treat their people very, very badly. And he was on the road 6 out of 7 days. You know, we do surveillance from 6 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night. Then they would want the report and their video sent to them before you had to leave the next morning to go to another city or another state and do the same thing over and over again. So these investigators typically drive around, tanked up on caffeine, absolutely exhausted, and that's how most investigations, or I'll say not most, but a lot of private investigating companies run their people. And we knew that it was not anything that he could continue to do indefinitely because it's just not safe. His health was starting to pay a price.
Well, you're sitting in a car all day.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we got really, really good experience. And the main things that we learned were how not to run a private investigating company. And so the approach that we take is, I guess, a lot different. We really care about our clients, and so we do probably as much counseling and one-on-one with our clients as we do actual work, because when they come to a private investigator for help, it's an extreme measure for them to take, and it's usually they're going through one of the worst, if not the worst situation in their lives. So either, I don't know.
Do you think he went the other way? Do you think we're sucking at this already? No, he's there. Do you kind of have to prepare them for all worst case scenarios? Oh, there he goes. All worst case scenarios?
You do, because they're freaked out when you get them anyway.
Oh God, there he goes.
There we go. We're off.
Here we go, we're off. We're gonna follow this person. What are we gonna do if
tag number?
Don't say it out loud. We got his tag number.
All right.
Oh gosh. Maybe he's already on to us.
Busted.
Less than 30 seconds in, we're already busted.
Oh. It's funny because people do really, really strange things in their vehicles, and when you're following them on surveillance, you think it does make you paranoid. You know how many times you've gotten in your car and you're going someplace for the first time, you forget something and you have to turn around and go back home.
Right.
Or you make a wrong turn, or you've got to stop and send a text or take a text.
So how do you keep yourself from looking obvious? Like that dude, I mean, like, how do you not, or do we just
You just assume they don't know you exist, and then you try to stay out of their peripheral and direct. Because the more time they see you and your face, the more they imprint on who you are, and then you become familiar. And then after a few hours, they're going to be, you know what? I've seen that car about
24
6 times today, and then this guy drives like a.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I wonder.
See,
yeah.
This is what makes it really tough too.
Okay, we just had to go across 3 lanes of traffic. I wonder if he's gonna go all the way around and do a U-E.
Watch him go to Dallas.
Oh my God, what if he gets?
Well, we won't go that far, but.
So I guess when you pull up right behind him, you got to act like you're not paying any bit of attention.
Yeah, and usually you want to just like drop your sunblocker down,
Right.
Your visor.
Right. Have you ever
really are
been?
oblivious?
Have you ever been caught?
One time, and usually the cases that you get caught on are the ones who've have had a PI follow them before, and it's usually a serial cheater, and wife has hired somebody or husband has hired somebody previously to follow her, so she knows.
Right.
She's out, or he knows when they're out doing stuff they shouldn't be, to be extra careful. And so,
And they're already guilty. They feel guilty, so they're going to be a little bit more on alert.
Paranoid.
Yeah, paranoid.
Absolutely
yeah,
paranoid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And especially if they have, knowledge that they were followed before. Most of them, if they do know, they're a lot more paranoid. So anyway, yeah, this was particularly funny. This is the only time I ever got caught. Frank and I were working in tandem. And so he was behind and I was following the guy up pretty closely. He actually took a picture of my vehicle and sent
Oh my gosh.
to his wife and said, this car's following me. What did you do?
Oh my God.
But they didn't know Frank's vehicle, and so we weren't burnt. My car was just burnt. So
Okay,
we were able to
explain
continue.
to all of us non-PIs what you mean when you say burnt.
they've made you. They know you're following
know
them.
who.
So they've seen your car, and you're starting. In that case, there was no question I was burnt.
Right.
But a lot of times, you've been on them. Again, you're getting stuck behind them, light after light, for lack of traffic or whatever the reason is, because there is a lot of traffic, and if you get too far ahead, you could lose them.
Right.
And your mind's constantly factoring in everything that's going on around you and the best way to stay with this individual so you can do your job.
Right.
And what was the question?
Okay. Have you ever got caught? I mean, so do you so in the movies, when we watch in the movies or on TV, they let other cars kind of get in front of us?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that what you do too?
Sometimes, if you can, that's optimal.
Okay.
You always would love to have 1 or 2 vehicles in front of you, but the key is, like, this car is so tiny.
Yeah.
If you get
You're
that
gonna
right
lose
truck
it.
that's in front of him right now, if he were between us, it would be very difficult to see in a lot of traffic like we're in right now, whether he makes a quick right-hand turn or a quick left-hand turn. So you're going thinking he's still in front of that white truck, and then you get up and you realize he's not. And that's when it's great to have your partner on the line and say, okay, he's not up here, you need to circle back, and then
Okay,
get
explain
right back
that,
on the
because
trail.
over lunch you were explaining to me about how you and your husband work in tandem.
We work in tandem because which is just the ideal situation for surveillance, bar none. So we can't always do it, but when we can, we do. Because it gives you the best success ratio. Tandem just means that you've got somebody staying on the subject for a period of time. You start getting uncomfortable because they've
Weird turns.
Yeah, you've been too close to them several times, and then you'll switch out. And then, like this guy that's sitting in front of us right now, he's real antsy.
Is he?
Yeah, if you can watch him, he's moving all over his car. He's checking things out.
He's making me nervous, and I'm not even. Do you think he's onto us already? There's
I
no
don't
way.
think so.
Okay.
You may be wondering, because he drives crazy, but he thinks he's cool. He looks pretty relaxed. On his arm.
But I think sometimes the people act like they're really relaxed, they're not actually relaxed. Like, that's what I do when I pass a cop.
Right.
And even though I didn't do anything, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm not paying any attention. There's no reason why you would even want to pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He is kind of being a little antsy.
So we're stuck behind him for a little while now. So if we had a second PI behind us in another vehicle, we might stay on him up to the light and say, okay, I'm going to turn off, and you get in behind him because he's seen me for 5 minutes
as we're sitting in traffic.
Yeah, and so I'll pull off. The other investigator will pull him behind or take over the lead, and then we just continue that. It's kind of like.
Do you have to carry a weapon?
Yes. do always want an equalizer because you never know, and each case is different. I mean, if you're dealing with somebody who's got an explosive temper, you typically always have a heads up that that's something that you could have to contend with. But most of the time, you're just dealing with idiot cheaters or
who obviously aren't too intelligent, or they wouldn't be in that situation in the first place.
Their spouse. Yeah, it's very sad.